News Services Division of Akashvani presents Northeast Diary.
Good evening and a warm welcome to another episode of Northeast Diary, your window into the vibrant cultures, inspiring stories and unfolding events from the 8 jewels of India's Northeast. I'm Vinita Thakur, and in today's program, we bring you an exclusive interview with Ms. Arani S. Hazarika, who has become the first Assamese to graduate in Sanskrit and Classical Hindi from the University of Oxford. A resident of Guwahati, the capital city of Assam, Arani S. Hazarika has brought laurels to the state by completing her degree in Sanskrit and Classical Hindi from one of the world's top universities. Her program combined Sanskrit with Classical Hindi, covering linguistic structure, literature, and historical texts. In this special interview, Ms. Arani S. Hazarika speaks with Mainak Chatterjee and shares her remarkable journey.
Dear listeners, we have Ms. Arani S. Hazarika. She has completed her graduation in Sanskrit and Classical Hindi from Oxford University, which is a dream university for most of us. Arani is the first woman from Assam who achieved this honor. We would like to know more from her. Arani, welcome to the studio of Akashvani Gangtok.
Thank you, Mainakji, for having me.
Arani, tell us something about your childhood.
I'm an only child, born and brought up in Guwahati in Assam, and I went to an all-girls convent school for 13 years of my life. I always very much into reading, into music, watching films, and I was always interested in different accents and learning languages, so that's it.
When did you actually decide that you will pursue with literature?
When did I actually decide? When I was very young, 4 or 5 years old, I used to want to be a doctor. There was, at one point, I wanted to be like a fashion photographer. At some other point, I wanted to be like a robotics engineer. So,
wow.
You have all these different
Yes.
phases of your life.
Yes.
But so I've always known that literature is something I would go towards. And there was always this thought of I could pursue it as a subject in college. But when it came to Sanskrit and Classical Hindi, Sanskrit specifically, because Classical Hindi came later on after I went to Oxford. It was a minor subject that we had to choose. Like, it was an option I could choose in second year. At least since I was 13 years of age, in 8th standard in high school, that's when I knew that I wanted to go to Oxford and pursue this subject specifically.
You pursued a career in Sanskrit. So when did you actually become sure कि yes मैं संस्कृत लेके ही आगे बढ़ना चाहता हूँ? Or what was the people's reaction after you decided to read Sanskrit and pursue with this subject?
You are correct in asking what was the reaction of people to this, because it was rather unexpected even for my parents. This started from about sort of 6th to 7th standard, and I remember Bidek Debroy was somebody whose translated books I had come across. So when I started reading those, and I think that was also a time in sort of the history of modern India where there was a resurgence in the interest with regards to mythology and sort of ancient and medieval Indian history. I remember being really interested in wanting to read the Gita very specifically, learning about the Mahabharata. Wanting to read at Oxford was a parallel dream I've always had. You know how children have like, I want to go to I want to go to Oxford, which I had. And I remember when I used to say this at home, my mother would often, I wouldn't say discourage me, but she would try to say that, this is not exactly a realistic dream, and they weren't really ready to believe that a subject like this would be taught in a foreign university, let alone the University of Oxford. But I did a little Google search. I still remember it was after a quarrel I had with my mother, who one day, when I was going on talking about something like this, and she got a little upset, and then she said, you do realize that this is not possible. I really wanted to prove her wrong, basically, so I did a Google search, and I found out that apparently there is a subject. It was called Religion and Oriental Studies then. And then I was like, since that very day, I think it was the end of 2017, early 2018, I was like, I really want to do this at Oxford.
I would like to tell my listeners that yes, we will explore more on Oxford chapter with Oroni ji. But before that, I would like to question promptly coming into my mind. I also come from a comparative literature background from Jadavpur University, and whenever we talk about Sanskrit, whenever you talk about any classical language, may it be Hindi, may it be Urdu, or something else, people संस्कृत के साथ ना बहुत महाकाव्य बहुत अच्छे से जोड़ देते हैं. लाइक यू स्टडी संस्कृत, ओके, यू हैव स्टडी रामायण एंड महाभारत, लाइक दैट. हैव यू फेस्ड एनी सच काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस कि एपिक के बाहर तुम लोग क्या ही पढ़ते हो?
एक्चुअली नॉट रियली. इंटरेस्टिंग बात है, जब आप बोल रहे हैं तो अभी इट्स कमिंग टू माई माइंड. मेरे आसपास जो लोग थे, वो चाहे स्कूल के दोस्त हो या फिर पहले तो मैंने किसी को बताया नहीं था. जब वहाँ पे मुझे सीट मिल गया, एडमिशन हो गया, उसके बाद जब लोगों को पता चला तब, लेकिन लोग मुझे पूछते थे कि कालिदास की पढ़ाई होगी
शकुंतलम के अलावा. हाँ, वही
जी. और क्या कहते हैं वो कविताओं की एक एक्सपेक्टेशन होती थी, ये पढ़ोगे. और लेकिन एक बात वो लोग कहते थे कि संस्कृत पढ़ के क्या करोगे, मतलब जो भी पढ़ो, एपिक्स पढ़ो, लिंग्विस्टिक्स हो, ये सब तो ठीक है, लेकिन व्हाट आर यू सपोज टू डू आफ्टर दिस. एक और होता था, बहुत कुछ लोग तो मजाक भी उड़ाते थे, मतलब इन अ वेरी इंसल्टिंग वे. इवन आफ्टर आई गॉट देयर वुड बी लाइक कमेंट्स अंडरनीथ द पोस्ट. हंसते थे लोग, अब भी लोग हंसते हैं कुछ लोग की, what has she just graduated and like what is she gonna do about it, and people would make fun कि ओ बाहर जाके क्या कर रही हो तुम, इंग्लैंड जाके तुम संस्कृत पढ़ोगी, इसका कुछ सेंस बनता है. That was something I faced more than the question of epics के अलावा क्या ही पढ़ लोगी.
I think every student of literature, or it will not be a wrong statement saying कि every student who is pursuing something apart from MBBS and engineering might face these questions somewhere down the line. Even I have faced this, so many of times before I joined Indian Information Services. So do you think having the, brand of Oxford have helped you a little bit, to jeopardizing this type of foolish questions?
It really depends. Because see, now with the Oxford tag, I have to say, in some context, I'm getting harsher judgments.
Responses, yes.
Like legit people laughing at me saying that, like, would you go and study Assamese in Bihar? Would you go and study Bengali in Tamil Nadu? How are you studying Sanskrit or Hindi, and like couldn't you have studied here? So there is one section that says that, but there is another section which also quite correctly points out the fact that our languages, the Indic or Indian languages, be it Sanskrit or the medieval Indian languages, these are given much more importance in foreign universities today than has been given in Indian universities or just the Indian education system in general in the modern decades, in the period of Indian independence. Yeah, sure, like if you look at, say, the past maybe 5 to 10 years, there has been, as I had said earlier, a resurgence in the interest, and there has been, the government is also trying to bring that in.
Definitely.
Politics aside, obviously, just if you look at it as a government trying to sort of inculcate and interest ancient culture, from that angle, they are trying, but again, a lot of those initiatives are still at a nascent stage. It really depends on the context.
Yes, and I would like to, if you agree or disagree, you might please come forward with your opinion. But as a student,
go ahead. Yeah.
As a student, I think it is very, unfortunate and unexpected from an educated, quote-unquote, so-called educated person, when our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi is, saying the term Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, ki the whole world is our very own house, or the whole world is our home. And with this statement, if you are, facing the question like what we will do, study Bengali in Tamil Nadu, very sort of unfortunate, but okay, like there are pros and cons in every section, and there are good and bad in every aspect. So now we will delve into your Oxford chapter, the much awaited portion, which our listeners are very keen to know. Tell us, how did you get into Oxford, and if someone dreams to get into Oxford, what are the ways or what are the processes?
All right, this is a very good question, because I feel like not knowing the process of how to get into, not just to Oxford, but to, a good
any
quality
sphere,
sort of
yes.
foreign university, yes. A lot of people, especially from our country, dream about it, but a lot of people are not able to do it or don't even sort of have the confidence to dream about it solely because of the fact that they feel like the application process is difficult or that they don't know how exactly to go about it. And with me, as I said, I was from a convent school, which is like, I have to say, like a really more or less a simple school, if I may use the word, or for the lack of a better word, a simple school. What I'm trying to differentiate my school from is that, for example, in cities like Delhi, in like the economically richer sections of society, there are these international schools of like the ICSE board, which have a system in place in their schools which sends students to Oxford and Cambridge. They have this whole system of teachers that will help you write your applications, and apparently you don't even have to apply by yourself. They have that sort of support system. I was from a normal CBSE school, which is why I use the word simple in comparison to these ICSE schools. So, I had to figure out everything by myself.
You have to pave, your own way. Yes, I understand. Yes, please continue.
It starts with really the basics. You go on Google and everything related to undergraduate level or bachelor's level admission into foreign universities in England or universities in England. I mean, the process to American universities is more complicated. I know now, but I had not applied to any American university then. I had only applied to Oxford. And there is this website called the UCAS, UCAS.com. And admissions to all and any university in England happens through that website. You have to open your account with an email, and the first important thing is you have to write a personal statement or a personal essay, if you will, where you talk about why you want to study the subject that you want to study. Basically you need to be able to prove that you are capable and that you deserve a place, and you need to write about maybe, it really depends on the applicant as well you want to highlight. Some people write about their hobbies. Other thing is the recommendation letter, which has to be written by one of your teachers, like a teacher who knows you well as a person and as a student, how capable you are, perhaps your family background. Basically somebody,
who can certify you, yes, he has potential, was supposed to shine after studying in the said university.
So these are the two important things. And once that application is gone, you send it on the website, and the website itself will send it to the university you choose. It could be Oxford, it could be Cambridge, it could be any of the other universities, Birmingham, or you know what I mean.
They will pick you up.
Yeah, you just have to go on that website, UCAS, UCAS.com. A lot of people apparently don't know about this website.
UCAS.com, right? Okay.
And once you know it, it's really very technical. It's like a few steps you can write down, and it's quite easy like that. But it's just that collecting all these things, like, talking to the teacher or, first and foremost, choosing the right teacher who can actually vouch for you and genuinely vouch for you, who actually believes in you enough to write something positive about you. Those sorts of things can get overwhelming. But other than that, once you bring everything together, it's quite a straight cut process. And any student listening to this, I would just like to tell them that don't be afraid about it or don't get nervous. I know it's easier said than done. Quite smooth. So once that happens, I think the year I was applying, which was in 2019, the deadline was sometime in October. And then in November, I heard back from one of the colleges. We have like 30 to 35 colleges, I think. I think 10 or so of them are specifically master's colleges, and others take both bachelor's and master's at Oxford. So I heard back from this college, Regent's Park College, and they said, we are considering your application. Please send in an essay, which basically the thing is, their entire education system runs on research and essay writing. So essay writing is when, for example, you have a class about a particular topic or a chapter in the book, and then you are asked to write an essay on a topic related to that, which is a very sort of creative way of learning as opposed to sort of the rote or by heart learning that has been going on in India for quite a while. It is, they are trying to change it now with the National Education Policy of 2020.
Yes.
But again, as I said, a lot of these things are very nascent right now in India. Like, it has just started. when I was applying to Oxford, it still wasn't a thing. Like now, even in India, you can do a bachelor's level research paper or a dissertation in your fourth year. But before it wasn't like that. But in the UK or in Oxford, it was always like that. So anyways, I digress. Going back to what I was saying, they asked me to write an essay, and they give you a list of possible topics you could choose from, or you could make up your own topic based on those topics. So I remember the title of, so basically the argument of my essay was whether or not religion should be studied in a university. And I had argued very strongly for it. And once you send the essay, and if that essay gets selected, so there are many levels of
selections.
You have to go through many levels of selection. So the first set of applicants, I think there are 10,000 applicants every year for a bachelor's degree to Oxford. And out of those 10,000, at last they only make around, I don't even know, a couple thousand or so offers.
So not even 10%. You are trying to say not even 10%. Yes.
Yeah, I think the year I applied, they took in nearly 4,000 out of those 10,000 something applicants.
Okay.
And this includes all the colleges within the university. And then the next level is, if they like your essay, they call you in for interviews. And if you're from, they call us international students. If you're not from England, you are considered international. So I think they always have online interviews for international students. That year particularly, because it was COVID, I had 4 interviews. And an interesting fact about those interviews is that my first interview was with Lady Margaret Hall College. And in fun fact, Indira Gandhi was a student at LMH. And the other college that interviewed me was St. John's. And my third interview was with the Faculty of Asian and Middle Eastern Studies, so basically the Department of Sanskrit. And the subject I had applied to was called Religion and Oriental Studies, so I would have studied Hinduism with Sanskrit. But after my interview with the Sanskrit department at Oxford, I guess they liked me, which is why they made an offer to me that we think you are more suitable for just Sanskrit rather than combining religion and Sanskrit. Would you be interested? So of course I said yes. And then after that I had my final interview with St. Bennett's Hall, which closed down now. After I got in, it closed down, and then I was shifted to Balliol College. So yeah, that's how it happened. So there is 3 stages in total. Some subjects have 4 stages. So that's the process, after which comes in the second part, for middle-class students like me, which is the scholarship process. And once you get the offer, which happens by the 1st or 2nd week of January of every year, and then by March, you have to finish sending in your scholarship application. I received the Simon & Julie undergraduate scholarship. It was a full scholarship. They would cover the entire tuition fees for 3 years or the end of your degree, and also give you a stipend.
We have talked about a lot regarding your journey and how did you get into Oxford. I would like to know, you have already mentioned you have done a special research paper while graduating. So would you like to enlighten a little bit on that?
Right. First and foremost, I will have to say this. When I say research paper, it's our bachelor's dissertation, and it's in no way a PhD level thing, but still, it's a chance that is worth giving. And I'm glad that they're starting to do so in India. Anyway, my paper was on the script used to write the texts which are currently preserved at the Dokhinpat Hotra in Majuli Island in Assam. And to any listener who may be curious, the Dokhinpat Hotra is a medieval Neo-Vaishnavite monastery which is part of our Hongkori tradition in Assam, which was basically a heritage which was started by Srimanta Hongkordev, or Mahapurukh Srimanta Hongkordev. He was this 14th to 15th century Assamese polymath, really. He was a playwright, he was a social reformer, he was a dancer, a musician. He was a lot of different things, and he was a Vaishnavite. And there used to be Shaktism before in Assam. There still is, obviously. I mean, both these sort of ways of belief very much coexist today. I mean, I mean, modern Assam is very much different from those times. It wasn't like that, and there was also a lot of violence and sort of social hierarchy and discrimination in the period that Srimanta Hongkordev lived in, and with the sort of the Namghor culture of Krishna worship, this sort of neo-Vaishnavism that he started, it could be included under the larger sort of what is called in layman terms the Bhakti movement of India.
Yes.
That same period. And the Dokhin Pathotra has all these sort of 17th, 18th, some even more recent 19th, some much older, 16th, 17th century manuscripts. And I had chosen a manuscript, not the entire thing obviously, because, for a bachelor's dissertation you don't have much time. You have to complete the dissertation or the thesis in like 4 months or so, as opposed to 3 years when it comes to a PhD. On a much smaller level, but as I said, it's an opportunity worth giving to students, and it's an opportunity worth taking and living for our students. So what I did is that these manuscripts, that they are written in 2 scripts. Usually one is called the Bamuniya and the other is the Kaithili script. Bamuniya script was used by the
Brahmins, yes,
and
obviously, yes.
Kaithili was used by the Kayasthas. The script that my chosen manuscript of Mahabharata was in, which is an Assamese Mahabharata, these have not been standardized. So these scripts that I worked on was not yet standardized. What I did was that I basically cut all the equivalents in today's modern Assamese script, or in any script really, like any Indic script. You could write it in modern Assamese script, or you could write it in modern Devanagari. So I standardized the script used in that manuscript, and now using that standardization, hopefully in the future, we will be able to translate, first and foremost, transliterate and decipher what is written in the other scripts in the Satra, manuscripts preserved in the Satra, and then we could conduct more research on those manuscripts. Perhaps we are waiting to discover what sort of unprecedented perhaps were written that we do not know of, because until now we were not able to read them. And I am hopeful that this would be useful. But the only thing is, who is going to give me the opportunity next?
Let's hand over to the future. One final question from my side. Any special message for our listeners?
Dream big. I know it's cliche, but I am somebody who was very often told that what I was imagining or what I was dreaming about was impossible, or to put it in a straightforward manner, impractical, or something that somebody born in a family like mine couldn't achieve. But I dared to dream still. I tried, and the universe or God or whatever you like to call it, or whoever you believe in, helped me. So I would just say that dream big, look for opportunities. When you get opportunities, grab them, and respect. You get lucky, respect it, accept it. I feel like a lot of our people find it difficult to accept when they get a good thing, like, oh, how could this happen to me? But you will have to believe it and accept it, so that you can take that opportunity and, achieve what you want to achieve.
Oroni, once again, thank you so much for associating with this program, and thank you so much for giving your precious time. Dear listeners, I would like to take a quote from APJ Abdul Kalam to conclude this interesting conversation with Oroni S. Hazarika. Dream is not something that you see in your sleep. Dream is something that doesn't let you sleep. Or, to be very honest, most of us have experienced. It's always impossible until someone makes it possible. So please dream big. Please do not get stuck with conventional ideas. Explore yourself, explore your world, explore the society, because you are the one, who can make the dream into reality.
Friends, you were listening to Ms. Arani S. Hazarika from Assam, an Oxford University graduate in Sanskrit and Classical Hindi. She was in conversation with Mainak Chatterjee. And now let's enjoy the song Mahabahu Brahmaputra, sung by the legendary Bhupen Hazarika. In this heartfelt composition, he appeals to the people of Assam to embrace harmony and celebrate the land's rich traditions of pluralism and hospitality. And that brings us to the close of this edition of Northeast Diary. Join us again next week, same day, same time, for more inspiring stories from this enchanting part of India. Until then, goodbye and do take care of yourself.
This program was presented and produced by Vinita Thakur with assistance from Kumar Gaurav. It was brought to you by the News Services Division of Akashvani.